5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time you are listening to this. Just want to say thank you for tuning in to Real Talk with BP. I really appreciate you guys for, sticking along. I know it's been a minute, but with work and school, it's really hard to get in here and, put time into this. But I promise you there's going to be more coming out, so don't worry. And just make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Really means a lot to me. But with that being said, let's jump right into it. Let's talk about the new year. And I know everybody out there has a New Year's resolution. So let's just talk about that real quick. New year, new me, of course. But let's be real, okay? Think about this. Think about all the money that the gyms are making right now, like Planet Fitness, Powerhouse, Anytime Fitness, Snap Fitness, just places like that, just easy, accessible places to get to. Think about all the money that they have made by the start of the new year. People want to go out, get gym memberships, sign up for a yearly plan, or especially personal trainers too. Think about that. All the people that buy a personal trainer, and want to train with them. But think about all the money that they made right at the beginning of the year. Has to be one of the busiest times for them. And then you got to expect they're going to be there for maybe January, February, and then that may be it. They may be there, committed for the first 2 months, and then boom, the gym's empty. All right? And I can speak on this because I've been one of those people before, okay? I really wanted to make a change for myself, get in there, start working out, and then, no, just stopped. Completely stopped. But now I'm more committed, more motivated, and, I'm in there, working. But I'm going to be honest, it truly is hard to find time to work out. So I believe that really is a hard New Year's resolution to, keep up with because, being an adult or starting your adult life with school, work, it's hard to find time to get in the gym and put out that serious workout that you want to get in and to find the absolute results that you want to get in. It's hard because people just don't have that type of time. Now, I'm not saying you need to work out for 2 or 3 hours because really, if you work out for 2 or 3 hours straight, at some point you're not doing your body any good. All right. Sometimes a 30-minute workout is better than 2 or 3 hour workout. And for those of you that used to play sports or just love to stay fit and work out all the time, you know that. You know that sometimes a 30-minute workout is better than a 2 to 3 hour workout. But the thing is that all the people that start a New Year's resolution, not even half, not even half, stick to it. And now, I believe if you really are committed and you really do go out for it, and let's say you hire a personal trainer or you join a class, okay, and you stick with it, because I believe if you hire a personal trainer or if you join a class, you are more motivated and you feel like I need to be there. I need to do this. I'm paying money. Someone's there. Someone's expecting me to show up, so I got to be there, okay? I believe that's the best way to start off because you feel obligated to go somewhere. You feel like someone's expecting you somewhere. So my best advice, if you're just new to working out or you're just starting to work out, trying to change yourself for the new year, join a class. Join, a spin class, yoga class, do something. Get a personal trainer, okay? Because then that'll keep you obligated. It will keep you on track. Other than just you going in there by yourself, getting the work done by yourself. Because when you're in there by yourself, getting your work done by yourself, you tend to slack off, okay? You tend to play on your phone, tend to hog the weights and not even use them, because we all know those types of people. You get in the gym and someone's sitting at a bench or someone's using a machine, and they're just sitting there and they're on their phone, not even paying attention. Can you just imagine? Like, you're trying to get a killer workout in, just trying to destroy your muscles, all right, trying to better yourself, but then someone is sitting there on their phone, texting their little girlfriend, or playing a game on their phone, playing Candy Crush, and they're just hogging the weights. No care for anybody else in the room, just them. Not even working out. And then guess what? You see them a couple minutes later, get up, go to the locker room, then leave. Can you imagine? And there's people out there that do that. Just if you're trying to, do a New Year's resolution, don't be that person. Do not be that person. Go in the gym, get your workout in, and go home. Okay? Do not, lollygag and just be there, and I hate to say it, but don't half-ass stuff, okay? You never want to be that person. But, and there's other, New Year's resolutions that, you know, people can do too, you know, but the main one is working out, okay? There's a lot of other possibilities though. Like, for example, for adults out there, there's some adults that want to go sober, want to stop drinking, want to stop smoking cigarettes, right? And that is a really, really hard New Year's resolution to achieve. But people do it because they're motivated and they really want to change their life. And, it might not start, people just can't quit cold turkey like that, okay? It might take them a little bit. But will they change? Of course they will. And then there's others, New Year's resolutions like I want to recycle more, I want to really, you know, make the earth, go green, do more eco-friendly things, start riding a bike more, cut down on how much water I use at home, cut down on how often I change the temperature in the house. Okay? And then I have a resolution, a resolution, New Year's resolution that doesn't involve quitting anything, doesn't involve working out, but it involves the people around me. And you're going to hear this and you're just like, "Oh, this is the cheesiest resolution I've ever heard. He's just saying that, whatever." But I truly mean this when I say it. My New Year's resolution is to change the community around me. Change the atmosphere around me. Change the people around me. And maybe if I get on a big enough stage, change the world. Because you have to look at this world that we live in right now. Okay? Yeah, economy's looking good. All right? Great. That's good news. All right? But there's times when we have to put business and money aside and look on what's really important. And that's the people in this world. Because if it wasn't for the human beings in this world, nothing would be possible. Sometimes we forget, and greed fills up our minds. We forget that how important people are. And I want to make a change, and I want to show people that you have to put aside money, bills, payments for just a moment, because you need to actually look at the people around you and be thankful for those you have in your life. Because we get so distracted. We get so distracted about paying things off. I don't want to be in debt. I have to go to work at a certain time so I can be ready for my second job. And it's hard because there's certain people that just can't put those things aside because their life depends on it. They live paycheck to paycheck. They have a family to feed. Which I believe is the problem with this world because big business owners, government, the wealthy, that's all they care about is the wealthy. That's all they care about is the money, the greed. But you need to look at the people. You need to look at how much racism is still in the world, how much hatred there is in the world, all the homeless. Because you need to understand that now I know that getting rid of racism altogether, just abolishing it, just never coming back again, it's impossible. Okay? Because there are still people out there. Still people out there that will never, change their way of thinking and will always stick to it. But hatred is something on another level. And hatred can spread to so many things and ruin so many things in this world. Hatred is a strong word. Okay? You may not like somebody. You may not agree with somebody. Don't have the same views. Okay? You may not respect somebody. But that does not mean calls for hatred. Because hatred can lead to violence. Hatred can lead to, people losing their homes. Can lead to people being out of a job. Hatred is so strong in the world today, it's insane. And hatred can cause people to feel less of themselves, to feel non-important or non-existent. And I'm not trying to sit here and say, you need to feel the love, man. Gotta have peace, man. No. What I'm saying is that don't be too quick to judge and actually have a conversation with somebody. Because I believe if you have a conversation with somebody, then, you get to understand them. You get to know them. You get to feel what they feel, almost. And there's something that, this was in a speech a long time ago. Great basketball coach. His name was Jimmy Valvano. And there's an award that goes out, every year. It's called the Jimmy V Award, Jimmy V recipient. Few people that have received this award were Stuart Scott, and a few others. But and most recently, there was, I believe, a high school football coach who received this award. But in this speech, he says there's things that you need to accomplish in a day. You need to laugh. You need to laugh, and you need to, have a good time and enjoy a good laugh. It'll make you happy. And you need to, and then another thing is you need to be with people. You need to be around people, I believe. And you need to, be with the ones you love. Give them a hug. You need to give the ones you love a hug. You need to give other people a hug because it shows affection. It shows that you care about them and they care about you. And then last, you need to be brought to tears. You need to cry. Because if your tears, that emotion, if your emotion brings you to tears, and if you can laugh, cry, and hug, and just be with the people and, your friends and family in one day, that's a full day. And that's, those are words coming from Jimmy Valvano. It's a great speech. I recommend you guys listening to it. It actually brought me to tears. It really did. Because this is a guy who had cancer, and in the video you can see him just even struggle to get up the stairs. And you're talking about a guy who did not know how much time he had left. But to him, that's not what mattered. Because no matter if he had cancer or not, he wasn't going to let that affect his life. He was still going to enjoy every day. And he was still going to laugh. He was still going to cry. He was still going to hug the ones that he loved. Because that was a full day. And I believe that if you do those things, just like Jimmy V said, you can make a change, and you can even better yourself. But I really do want to make a change. Now, doesn't matter if it's a big change or a small change, or if it has, the impact does not matter. Just the fact that I want to make a change, and I want to do everything that I am capable of to make that change, to make this world a better place, to make somebody a better place, to make someone feel like they're wanted and important. That's all I want to do. Okay? I can work out later. I always have time to recycle. But to change someone's life, you really don't get that opportunity every day. And that's why I love being a coach. It's why I want to be a teacher. Because if I can get into that classroom, or if I can get out on that practice field and help these young men and women grow up to be not just, to give them the same right to success that everybody else has in this world. Because you have to understand, there's certain people that there's actually a large majority of a group, okay, large majority of the people that live in this world today that do not have the same right to success as other people do. And it's hard to hear, but it is very true. There are some people out there that aren't given the same right to success as others. And I want to get into the classroom and get onto the practice field, and I want to give them the same right to success. I want to make them successful. I want to put them on the right path to make millions. And I know that that's not a possibility for everybody. It's a rare possibility. But if you aim high, if you aim so high, and even if you don't reach that goal, you're still up there. You gotta have high expectations and high goals, because so what if you don't make them? So what if you don't meet those goals? But if you try hard enough and you miss that goal or miss that expectation by even a little bit, you're still successful because you put your expectations so high that even if you failed, you can still consider yourself successful. Now, so I learned something today, in college. Isn't that crazy? I learned something in college. But and people may look at this in different ways and things like that. But now that I heard this today, I kind of look back and I realize, wow, that's actually really true. And what that is that you politics, okay? Government, politics, propaganda, you know, whatever, whatever you want to call it, okay? It's boring, okay? Now, there's some people out there that are going to say, What are you talking about? Politics isn't boring. Politics is exciting." All right? Yeah. There's people out there that, probably, feel that way. And there's maybe a lot of people that feel that way. But as a high schooler, a teenager, and even going into, 20s, 30s, things like that, politics, to us, to the people in the United States, human beings, politics may seem boring. Politics may be something that we're not interested in. We don't give a crap about it, right? But then there's others that, are really interested in it, really want to dig deep into it, and good for you guys. But for the average, person, not going to say normal because to me there is no true definition of what normal is. But for the average high schooler or average what what can I say, adult, I guess you could say, 20s to 30s, they're not really interested in politics. They think it's boring. And I'm going to tell you why. It's meant to be boring. They want you to be bored by politics. They don't want you to find excitement or joy in it. Government, they want you to find government boring. They want you to find laws and, rules boring. Because just imagine if they didn't. Imagine if they made, okay, let's put it like this. Let's say they made politics like an action movie, okay? Or a comedy. You're going to want to pay attention. You're going to want to watch and listen and see what's going on. Imagine if they wrote laws in words or made laws or rules to the point where you're excited and you want to read them, okay? Now, if you're excited and you really want to listen and get into politics or the government, you're going to know a lot more. And you're probably going to know more than the government wants you to know. And I'm not some person that's thinking, oh, the government's out to get me. The government's trying to, do stuff. The government's trying to, lower me. I'm trying to stick it to the man. No, that's not what I'm trying to say at all. What I'm trying to say is they don't want you to pay attention. Because if you started paying attention, and if you started reading the laws, and started looking into things, okay? You just made yourself more powerful. You just gave yourself a new advantage, okay? You couldn't, let's say, you know, you really dig deep into the government, really dig deep into politics. There's probably going to be something out there that you're going to find out that they don't want you to know. Now this is something I would recommend. I recommend everybody to go and pick up and read the amendments, read your rights, know what laws are out there, because there's nothing, the only thing that can come from that is good. I mean, what's so bad about knowing your rights and knowing the laws? Think about it. But what I'm trying to say is that for the average high school or 20 to 30-year-old, they're not really interested in politics because it's boring. And think about this. If something's boring, we're not going to want to pay attention, obviously, But that's the government's mindset. They don't want you to pay attention. They want you to hear the things that they only want you to hear certain things. Okay? Because it's almost like reading the fine print. All right? Oh yeah. They say great things. They promise amazing things. But then you put your glasses on, get a magnifying glass, and you read, and you go all the way down to the bottom and read that fine print. You're going to find some scary stuff, let me tell you. Now, on to a new subject. Don't really want to talk about politics too much in government. That's not what I want to make this show, this podcast. But other news. Let's switch into sports real quick, okay? Big news coming from Major League Baseball, okay? Now, this was announced, what am I going to say, maybe a month ago? I want to say a month ago. Yeah, let's just call it a month ago. Don't fact check me on this, okay? But, what happened was that Major League Baseball will no longer drug test for marijuana. Okay? So that means when somebody, it was a month ago, December. So when a Major League Baseball player takes a drug test, and let's say weed comes up on the drug test, they can no longer test for weed. They can smoke weed. And you may not think this is big, but it's huge. It is huge. Because think of what this will do to other sports. Think of how this will impact other sports. Because sooner than later, NBA, National Basketball Association, NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, hell, maybe even water polo, all the other sports that are out there, they will follow suit. Now, you may not believe me. You may have your own opinions on this. But what I'm saying is that they will follow suit. It just takes one domino. It just takes one domino. And I'm going to go back to the rehab portion of marijuana. Okay? Now, I watched a documentary on a great soccer player, Pele. Okay? And Pele was really young, one of the youngest soccer players to have ever played. Okay? Well, Pele was injured, all right? Very young, injured very young in his, soccer, you know, career. And in this documentary, it shows the trainer or somebody lighting a bowl, a big, and this was a big bowl of marijuana, and he didn't smoke it, he didn't inhale it, but what happened was he just lit the bowl, and it was kind of like an incense, okay, and he just let the room fill up, and every training session they would do this, okay, and Pele came back faster. The recovery time was fast. It was amazing. And I believe that if people look into marijuana as a source or a something that is useful in rehab, then that could be very, very useful for the longevity of players' careers. And I mean, think about it. Think about the wear and tear on athletes' bodies, especially for people in the NFL, NHL, NBA, baseball, and most importantly, MMA. Okay? I mean, those are taking a toll on your body big time. All right? I mean, you're talking about contact. All right? In baseball, there's a lot of torque motions, a lot of, joint problems and things like that. Just imagine the possibilities of using marijuana as rehab. So, for the Major League Baseball, I say good for you, because you may have just saved many careers from injury. Okay? Now, you also have to look at it from this standpoint too. Is there athletes out there that are going to abuse this right, this ability? Yes. Yes, they will. But that is just something you have to deal with. Now, let's shift gears here, okay? To, get off sports for a little bit. And like I said in my first podcast, I'm going to tell you why I talk about so many things, and I never restrict myself to one topic. And it's because I watch a lot of Joe Rogan's podcast, okay? It's called the Joe Rogan Experience. And if you're not into mine, I highly recommend you go off and you watch Joe Rogan Experience. He has a lot of guest, co-hosts on there. Amazing podcast, talks about a lot of things. But I started watching that, and I was like, he never restricts himself. He always talks about whatever he wants, and he just has fun. And that's what I want to do here. I want to have the ability to talk about what I want to talk about and just get it off my chest and just, have a good time and talk and have fun. So now we're going to talk about, the unfortunate Australia wildfires, okay? And this is something that just doesn't happen every day, okay? This is some stuff to where you may think this may be the end of the world type stuff. I mean, if you look at the amount of damage that has been done, it is insane. Insane. The amount of animals that have died, unbelievable. I don't know if you know this, but koalas are now going to be considered endangered. And they're not yet considered endangered, but there have been talk that the koala species is going to be endangered after what just happened. And it's hard to think about. And the sad thing is that you have to think about this. It's coming to the point where they're starting to find people that started these bushfires, these fires in Australia. And there's articles that you can read online. Okay, I'm not just making this stuff up. But if you look, there's, you know, there's different articles that you can read where they said, oh, they arrested, numerous amounts of people for starting Australian bushfires. And even if they did start the fires, or even if they didn't, maybe it was just a natural occurrence. But just to think, you're sitting there and you start a fire that has this big of an impact on the world. Like, what do you even consider yourself? Like, what do you even consider that type? Do you even consider them a person anymore? I mean, you put species endangered. Like, you almost wiped a species off the map for good. I mean, to think that people would have done this is heartbreaking. But, like I said before, that this may have just been a natural occurrence. This may have just been something that nature caused. Now, if that was the case, then I'm going to be honest, I'm a lot more scared of something that happened by nature than something that happened by a man. Because mankind and humans, we need to be honest. We're not the brightest, okay? Now, don't get me wrong. Human beings, we're very intelligent, okay? We're very intelligent, but at the same time, we also have no clue. But the scary thing about this being a natural cause is that if this was caused by just the fact of nature, this happened just because of life, just imagine what else could happen. And we can't control it. Because if something happens in nature, there's no stopping it. It happens, and we just got to deal with it. But then again, we also have to talk about another thing. The rain. Because if it wasn't for the rain, I don't think that fire could have been contained. But thank the good Lord above for bringing that rain. Because that's another funny way how nature works. And I think another thing too is that if this was because of nature, that kind of just shows us how powerless we are when it comes to these types of things. Because nature started it, okay? Let's just go to say from just to say, okay? Not saying it's true, not saying this is how it started, but let's just say this was because of nature. Let's just say Mother Nature came down and started these bushfires, okay? And what if that was like a test? A test for mankind to see what we're made of, to see what we would do in this type of situation. And then it got to the point where Mother Nature stepped in again because we couldn't handle it. And the rain came down and helped. I mean, again, it comes to the point where it shows us how powerless we are when it comes to things like that. I mean, you can look at hurricanes, tornadoes, tsunamis, uh, snowstorms, blizzards. Nature is a scary thing to think about because it really shows mankind how little and how powerless we are. Scary thing. Scary thing. And another thing that just think about this, okay? Out here jumping topics, switching from one topic to another. It's great, right? Great how we can just switch our minds, but without no connection. But another thing is think about this. I eat a lot of Chinese food, okay? I'm going to be completely honest. I love Chinese food. But something that I always do, whenever I get fortune cookies, okay, I always keep the paper. I always keep the paper. And I collect them. And there's some people that say, oh, those are made in a factory. Made in a factory. They're not real. I like to keep them, though. Because the other day, I looked back on a few that I kept over time. And I'm actually starting to see those things come true. And it's insane. Like, think about this. What if people live their life off of fortune cookies? Like, you go in, open up a fortune cookie, you read it, and you live your life off of that. Like, let's say you're going to open one up, read it, and it says, you're going to prosper in the field of engineering. And you set your goals, and you set everything towards being an engineer, some whatever electrical engineer, whatever that, you want to be. Or you open up a fortune cookie and you read it and it says, you will be blessed with kindness today. And you go out and you start talking to other people and you try and find that kindness, and people are just starting to be nice and kind. Okay? Or another example, let's see here. You will be on a beautiful vacation in the tropics, and then you go buy the next flight to the Bahamas or something, okay? Just imagine if people live their life like that. Like, you open up a fortune cookie and whatever says, that's what you gotta do. That's how your life works, okay? And it's funny because a lot of people don't believe in fortune cookies. And they're just like, oh well, just a something that was made in a factory. Now, it's I don't know. I like fortune cookies because I like to think, what if, what if? I like to think of the what ifs when I look at fortune cookies because I'm like, what if this happens? Kind of fascinating to think about sometimes. But, you know, it's crazy to think that something like a cookie could change someone's life, right? It's insane. But speaking of life, we need to talk about a few things, which is work, school, self-care, and just everyday events. Because I feel like at times people forget who they are, and people forget about the people around them. And it's hard to say because people are trying to make money, get a degree, and just be successful. And they get so caught up in those things to where they forget. They forget how to have fun. They forget to sit down and have a conversation with somebody. Because when you work and have a class or a couple classes in the same day, how much time do you really have to do what you would like to do? None. And then to think what you get out of school once you graduate, get your degree, whatever you want, you're you're working. You're working for a living, making money, trying to provide for your family. And it's just nonstop. You need time. You need time for yourself. Every day you need to set aside time for yourself. Find something that you love to do. Find something that makes you happy. Because if you don't, you're going to go insane. And your life will just consist of work, food, and money. You won't care about anything else. That's all you will care about. You need to find what makes you happy. Because it keeps you level. It keeps you even. And it's draining. It really is draining. Because there's times when, now this goes for if you have a job, if you go to school, and if you're not doing either. Okay? People will feel like they don't mean anything, will feel like they are lower than what they really are, will feel like they have no purpose in this world. And I'm going to talk about something real quick, and this is a portion where I need everybody to listen. Don't leave, and I need you to listen. Okay? Now, if this pertains to you or not, that's fine. But I believe everybody needs to hear this. We are put on this world for a reason. We are brought into this life for a reason. Now, there are some people out there that may feel like they don't know what they're doing. they don't know what their purpose is. They feel like they're just a waste. They're useless. Well, let me tell you something, okay? You are put on this world for a reason. We may not know what that reason is. We may not know what our sole purpose is in this life. We may not know yet. But that does not mean we give up. You keep going. You keep striding for what you want to be. You keep pushing. Never feel useless. Never feel like you don't have a purpose. Because even though you may not know what your purpose is, you do have a purpose. Just know that. You are here for a reason. Now, if that reason is to, be a delivery driver, if that reason is to be the next great athlete, if that reason is to make the world a better place, if that reason is to go and join the military. And there's maybe bad reasons too, or bad purposes. Maybe you're put on this world to join a gang or to do drugs. But the thing is, everybody has a purpose. Good or bad, we all have a purpose. No one is useless. No one is worthless. And I believe if people put in their minds that they belong here and that I am important, and they say to themselves that I have a purpose. I may not know what that purpose is, but I have a purpose, and I'm going to keep going and keep striding until I know what that purpose is. Now, we can all agree that the fastest way to get from point A to point B is a straight line. I mean, it's facts. And I believe that you need to think about where you want to be and how you're going to get there. Okay? There's an obvious point A and a point B. Now the obvious solution to get from point A to point B is a straight line. Am I correct? Yes. But I will say this. It's how you get from point A to point B. Because in life, this is the hard fact about life. It's not just going to be a straight line. You're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have loop-de-loops. All right? And fact of the matter is, you're not going to have a straight line. But what makes you the person that you are is how you get from point A to point B. You have to go through those loop-de-loops. Have to go through those ups and downs. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. It's a great speech from John F. Kennedy. And you can find this on YouTube. And he starts off by saying, Why do we go to college? Why do we work 2 jobs? And then he says, why does Rice play Texas in football? And then he capitalizes it with, we do those things because they're not easy, but because they're hard. And because they're hard, that's what makes us who we are. And then he says, why do we send people to the moon? Not because it's easy, but because it's hard. Now I'm going to add my own thing to that. If everything was easy, we wouldn't be who we are today. We need those challenges in our life. We need that hard. Everything can't be easy. Because when you go through hard times, that develops character. That molds you into who you are. And I just want to tell you that if you're going through a hard time right now where you feel like you're not going to make it, where you feel like you're useless, feel like you don't have a purpose, there's a reason for these hard times. We don't do things because they're easy. We do them because they're hard. And because they're hard, that's what makes us who we are. And that's why we're successful. So I'm going to end the day, end this podcast by saying, do not let anybody limit you to your success. And I'm going to trademark this someday because I wholeheartedly believe this. And I've learned this from my father. Okay, he's told me this ever since I was little. There is one person in this world that determines your future. And that person is you. I want you to wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, and I want you to say, I determine my future. I control my success. Do not let anybody limit you to your success. Don't let it be a boss. Don't let it be a coworker. Don't let it be a friend. You determine how successful you are. You determine how hard you work, not somebody else. Don't let somebody bring you down. You be the best you that you can be. Be successful. Be successful to the point where you can help others be successful. Thank you again for tuning into this podcast. This has been Real Talk with BP. If you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen. God bless. Have a great day.